Hey guys, Teresa here. Um, I am here to talk about something that has happened while I was here in Atlanta at the Military Influencer Conference. It is now day two, and I was just asked to leave the Military Influencer Conference because of an incident with a online veteran influencer. So I put out a post about this issue that I'll link to in the comments, but I'm going to go back in this long form video and I'm going to explain a little bit about what happened between me and this veteran influencer and how things happened this way. So, about 8 months ago, I met Janae Sergio. I believe I met her through a couple friends of mine, and we ended up having a phone call. And there was discussions between herself and me about doing an upcoming podcast. And the podcast was going to be about her online work, other things. I just remembered it. I met her at the MIC last year where she had a booth and I grabbed her book. So I was familiar with her from that. I think I had just spoken to her briefly there. So over the next few months, we kept in touch and we were going to do a show together. Well, before we did that show together, I was following her content. She was closely following mine. We were getting to know each other, that whole thing. And I started noticing that she would put a series of negative comments in mostly my LinkedIn posts whenever I would post about men who I believe were falsely accused. And she would question the legitimacy of the cases that I was covering and other things. Numerous times, I would follow up in text messages and I would explain what I was doing, why I was doing it. And even there would be times during the text messages where we would resolve the issue and move on. Well, one day I put out something about advocacy and how some advocates go a little too far. Wasn't even talking about her. And she goes into my comments. I believe she thought it was about her going too far and basically said, stay in your lane and your message is unstable. Again, something that I thought could be a text message, and it wasn't. So at that point, I decided to ban her. So during this time, she had also become friends with a friend of mine. So that was a little awkward, but we managed it, and I don't ever tell my friends who to be friends with. So we proceeded on. I saw her at the VFW convention, and we were in the same room together because she moderated a panel, and I was sitting right across from her. And I felt a little bad about us not being in touch and me blocking her on my socials. So I decided to extend an olive branch and send her a note. That's also in the post that I'll link to. She never responded. So I gave up on that. And so I figured I'd be seeing her at the parade deck stage here at the Military Influencer Conference. Now, that did not happen. So I'll tell you a little bit about why that didn't happen. So she decided late last night to put out a video on her socials. I think it's about 2.5 minutes, where she accuses me of supporting predators and basically blankets everything I've done in the space for those who've been falsely accused as predators. Now, these are cases that I deeply research. These are cases where I read court transcripts. These are cases where I speak to mothers, where I speak to even men through letters of who've been incarcerated, who are still incarcerated. And they're people who I believe. And I believe in giving them a voice. So it turns out that the founder of Parade Deck has a sexual assault conviction. And Janae knew about this, but decided last night to say that Parade Deck is giving me a stage because of his sexual assault violation. Now, the thing that doesn't make sense to me, guys, and you can help me fill the blanks here. If she knew about the sexual assault allegation before tonight and Parade Deck was paying her to do stages and other things, then why now bring it out and not bring it out when she first knew about it if she thought she was endangering other sexual assault victims? That part doesn't make sense to me. The other part that doesn't make sense to me is the fact that just about half hour ago, I was kicked out. I was told by, I believe her name is Catherine, one of the event organizers from Recurrent Media, that I am no longer welcome at the Military Influencer Conference. I was allowed to stay at the hotel if I was still there, And I explained that I had all these text messages, all these chats. And oh, by the way, even in Janae's post, there was another advocate or whatever, LinkedIn poster, who claimed that I endangered her and made her feel unsafe by referring her to a false allegation advocate, to which I still have the receipts where I offered to put her in touch with somebody to explain a case. Then the case triggered her and she didn't want to have the discussion anymore. And so we stopped the discussion and I said, you can block me if you don't want to hear about these things. And she did. Again, I have the receipts to prove that as well. So Nick is a business. They made a business decision and they asked me to leave. Or, I mean, I was pretty much being forced to leave. And I did that because I knew it was the right thing to do for the rest of the attendees. I'm not going to throw a fit. I had already been accosted by somebody. Just in maybe 45 minutes before, I had somebody put their finger in my face and tell me I was a disgusting person, a woman, brown hair, middle-aged, ponytail. Don't remember her name, but I did put in a complaint to the hotel security. And I didn't think that was going to end. So all that to say, I'm no longer at Mick. So if you're seeing this video and you're seeing me in front of a hotel right now, you know, hanging out and doing my homework and leaving, probably getting back on the road tomorrow, it's because I was asked to leave Mick because a veteran influencer put out false information about me on a video. And Mick made a business decision. So it is what it is. I hope you guys have an amazing time at Mick. I wish I were there with you. Oh my gosh. I was a VIP too. That was the thing. Curtis gave me a VIP pass because I was really gracious about not getting a chance to speak on the big stage. And it's just a shame because I was looking forward to my lunch or my Mighty 25 dinner and all those other events that I know you guys are going to be at, and I'm going to be a little jealous, but it's all good. Things happen and business decisions, I guess, have to be made. And that's why I'm not a businesswoman. That's why I'm an advocate. That's why I believe in community and grassroots organizing, and I believe in being honest. And this was my way of being honest about what happened to me these last few days. So it's been quite an adventure, to say the least. But I want to say a special thanks to my husband and some very, very special friends. I'm not sure if they want me to name them or not. So just know that you guys have been very special to me, and I'm blessed to have you in my life and to have some advisors by my side. So anyway, guys, I hope you're doing well. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this very, very long video. Talk to y'all later. Bye now.